My brother's name is Jordan. I'm Steven. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
How would you classify or like characterize, where we are as a country right now, racially, between, black, white?
Not in a good spot.
Not in a good spot?
No.
No, you think it's worse?
Yeah.
So, why would you say that? Worse than when, or why?
I mean, it's just. I don't know what the root cause of it is. It's just we're not in a good spot. It's just, yeah. I mean, you look at events. I mean, even most recently, it happened this weekend. It's like it just shows where it's kind of like going to race wars. It's just different times.
And this is kind of what you see that in the media, right? A lot. But, being a comedian, having spent a lot of time around black comics, or a lot of black people just disproportionately in comedy, and then I've gone to churches that are very mixed. My interactions on a personal level are very positive, lifelong relationships. But if you watch the media, you're going to hear about the race wars and the division. Do you think there's maybe that? Are your personal interactions with white people worse than ever?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like what? What kind of stuff do they do?
I mean, you have all kinds of stuff. You have the people that think it's acceptable to touch your hair. Like you're a dog. You have the people that, I mean, it's all kinds of different things that just happen.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, yeah, that's not acceptable by no shape, form, or fashion, so I don't know why we're doing this.
That seems like a jump, though, from that to race war.
Well,
we have got to realize, man, we have gotten to a point in this country to where we believe everything is racist. Man, everything is racist. And man, it's not. It truly isn't. Again, we've got to understand that things are not bad in this country. They're not. People can say they are. Oh, they're so racist. Man, things are so bad. But they truly aren't. They truly are not. Man, again, I understand what Steven's saying. Again, my interaction with black folks, one-on-one interactions, they're not bad. Not at all. I mean, again, they're actually pretty good. Again, man, I've lived in the South pretty much all my damn life. The horrible racist South. I've lived down South for years, man. And again, since I was 3 for the most part. Again, man, I left for a while when I was younger, but for the most part, I've lived in the South since I was 3 years old. And again, man, it's not that bad. It's really, truly not. And I'll be honest with you, man. Again, I find there's a lot of issues, man, coming the other direction. And man, again, there are a lot of black people that don't like me just because of the color of my skin. And again, I'm finding it more and more with younger black folks. Again, man, I'm a white man, middle-aged white man with white privilege and whatever. And it's like, they don't even know who I am. And they have no idea where I came from. They have no idea what I've done. They've had no idea what I've done to get where I'm at, which, again, is nothing great. Nothing good. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, man, again, they look at you and they label you a certain way. And, I think, unfortunately, that's what's happened to this poor young man right here. I mean, again, I don't know how old the guy is, but I would say probably 25 or so tops. But again, the fact of the matter is, man, he believes that everything is racist, man. Things have gotten worse. Things have gotten really bad. And then when Steven asked him, hey, what happened to you? Why do you believe things are so bad? He's like, well, they touched my hair like of a dog. And again, that's the only example that he can give. And again, man, how do you know they touch your hair like you're a dog? Again, I'm a lot older than you are. This young man is right here. But I got to be honest with you, man. When I was younger, I had long hair down past my shoulders. And again, man, people touch my hair all the damn time. White people, black people. There were a lot of black people that touched my hair. Man, I remember this one girl touched my hair. Man, she was kind of pretty, so I kind of liked it. Again, she would tell me I had good hair. I'm like, oh yeah, touch it some more. She was a pretty girl. But the fact of the matter is, man, if you don't like people touching your hair, let them know. And again, if they don't stop touching it, maybe they're just jerks. Maybe they're just jerks, man. Maybe it has nothing to do with race. Maybe they're just assholes.
So, what was it like being raised? Like, how would you classify your neighborhood? How would you sort of describe it?
I mean, Mansfield's a primarily, I think, white area.
Yeah.
Suburban America. Actually was one of like the last school districts in the country to desegregate.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, it's, you know, they have their problems. I didn't really deal with much there.
Right.
I think I really was exposed to stuff until I was an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was mostly white suburban, so you'd think you'd be exposed to those people when you. So you're saying when you were young, it was mostly decent.
Yeah.
The interactions. Okay. What do you think about bringing that up? This is a white guy's perspective. The segregation coming back in colleges and black-only spaces, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned to be desegregated. We're moving back toward that under different guise. Where do you line up on that? You think that's productive?
What do you mean?
To have black-only spaces either in high schools or colleges, right? To label those things seems to me, as an ignorant white guy, it's kind of like segregating again.
I can see that. I mean, I think it's everybody needs their safe space to where they can go be their authentic self, where they can really like vibe with other people that are like them. I'm not saying like it should be like, oh, white only or black only locations or spots or stuff, but like, I mean, if you see black people gather in certain places, like, okay.
No, I mean, those are policies. Like, those are actual policies, like at schools now, where they'll have black-only spaces, which doesn't seem like that's really...
What school was that?
We had it start with Mizzou, right? And there have been a few others in so we just had the affirmative action ruling, where they said, no, okay, because...
Man, as far as safe spaces, again, we truly got to be honest, man, that's not going to work. That's not going to work one bit. Because again, man, we don't need to have that. People need to work together. People have to learn how to work together with other people of other groups. White folks, black folks, whoever, man. People have to learn how to work together. So again, man, the only way they're going to learn how to work together is to work together, to be around each other. So again, we don't need to have safe spaces, man. Black only areas, man. Black only graduations. We don't need to have that stuff because, again, that stuff is moving backwards. And again, we have truly got to understand, guys. Again, I lived in the South all my life growing up, or pretty much all my life growing up. And again, things have gotten worse now. Well, actually, haven't gotten worse now, man, but it's being reported as being worse than it is, man. We have truly got to understand. Again, the day-to-day interactions, they're fine. Again, we have truly got to understand that. Again, I have kids, man. Again, my kids are a little bit older now, but I mean, I have two kids that are still kind of young. And they hang out with black folks, hang out with white folks, hang out with black folks, hang out with Hispanic folks. So other kids. So again, we have truly got to understand it's not that big of a deal. It truly isn't. And the way they're making it sound is like, oh my God, there's so much division. But again, there isn't. There truly isn't, man. And like I said, man, when I was a kid, man, I grew up in an area, it was mostly white. The neighborhood that I actually grew up in was mostly white. But again, the surrounding areas was a big mixture. And man, I used to play ball. I used to go over to black folks' house. They'd come over to mine. Again, we'd have dinner. I'd have dinner with them. They'd have dinner with me. Again, I spent the night at their house. They would at mine. Again, the fact of the matter is, man, people did things together. And we have truly got to stop looking at skin color and our race and start doing things with it. Start living our lives. Stop listening to all this bullshit that's going on in the media, man, because again, it's not real. It truly isn't.
Others in so we just had the affirmative action ruling, where they said no, okay, because Asians were sort of suffering at the hands of Harvard and Brown. Where do you line up on that? Do you think that that's an issue that anyone who would say, I don't think that categorizing people, accepting them by race, even if you disagree with them, does that make that person a racist who thinks affirmative action is maybe not the best?
So if you don't agree with affirmative action, are you a racist?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you're a racist, but I mean, you should probably look at history to see, like, hey, why do we have affirmative action, and then what's the importance of it?
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you got to realize, like, people hell, I've been hired at jobs before because they told me I'm black.
Right.
That's not acceptable.
Right.
So it's like, it gets used in
That's affirmative action.
Sometimes used in good ways, sometimes used in bad ways. Moments like that, it's like, okay, cool. I'd rather you look at like my qualifications, see like, hey, what is it that I do?
Right.
And see like, okay, great, you're the best candidate for this, versus like, okay, cool, you got it because you're black.
Okay.
So I mean, it just depends overall.
So it sounds like you're saying that maybe affirmative action not a great thing if someone's just hiring you because of your race.
I think
That's all it does. There is nothing else about it. It's hiring people based on their race, right? And you're saying, and honestly, that's got to be a terrible feeling if you're like, well, I feel like I've accomplished a lot. I'd rather you look at my accomplishments than just say I'm hiring you because you're black. That seems racist to me.
Well, I mean, part of the thing is like, I don't know, no offense to you, but I don't know if white people understand this, but it's like, black people just get looked over all the time. Where it's like, it doesn't matter what our accomplishments are. If you look at me on a piece of paper and a white person on a piece of paper, it's going to be two different experiences.
Okay.
I've seen it firsthand in corporate America. I've seen it firsthand in the universities as well.
So this is okay. So this is one thing that I think maybe we can you maybe come to a place of with white people here. Let's say I'm a white business owner. Okay, you just voiced displeasure, and I understand with someone not hiring you, looking at two resumes because they don't necessarily know. Okay, but then you also said that it was kind of crappy that someone hired you because you're black. What's a white business owner to do?
I mean, here's the thing. It shouldn't have to be something that's a policy that's there. It should just be something that you're doing because it's the right thing to do. It shouldn't be like a thing of, okay, cool, I know I need to increase my diversity numbers, because that's normally what it is. I need to increase my diversity numbers, and then from there, we're going to hire black people. So it's like, no, that's just the right thing to do. Mirror your customers.
What is the right thing to do, to hire based on race, or to hire based on
the right thing to do is
qualifications?
hire diversity, have a diverse workforce.
But what if they're not the best person?
Then hey, you can find people. Like they say, if Beyonce can find 14 black trombonists, I'm sure you can find one black person to join your team. It's not that hard.
But somewhere there's likely a Japanese American trombonist who got screwed out of a job, was very good at it, just like Harvard and Brown, right? Who had higher SAT scores.
Which is fine. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just.
Are they racist?
No, I mean, it's one of those things where you know what you want. So it's like, okay, if you know what you want, then like.
But what if you don't want it? What if you just want the best trombonist?
Then do what you have to do.
Okay, so it sounds like we would find common ground and then hire the best person and do what you want, and it shouldn't be policy to force on someone, because that doesn't turn someone not racist. Like a Klansman's not going to hire black people because of affirmative action, no matter what, right? But maybe someone else might hire you just because you're black, and that's a crappy feeling, as opposed to your accomplishments.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I think that makes sense. I was trying to make sure that we understood where we line up. And safe spaces we were talking about, that can apply like black, white, gay, straight. I would assume that would also be kind of, as far as identity, intersect, all that. Those would be things that you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. No, I appreciate it. I'm glad we had this conversation, man.
Cool.
Jordan, I know you got.
So, if you have a black resume, a black sounding name, and a white resume, I think it's what he was talking about. If you have a black person on paper and a white person on paper, the white person normally gets the job or whatever, man, whatever he was saying. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I haven't looked into any of the stats. But again, we have to also understand there are numerous different other factors involved. If that turns out to be true. But the fact of the matter is, man, one thing we have got to recognize, man, there is such a thing right now as black privilege. Again, you could say pretty much anything is racist, and people tend to believe you now. And, again, people who hire people have to understand, if you have a, on your resume, man, organizations, and you have some kind of black empowerment group or whatever put on there, especially, man, I mean, I would think a lot of people would look at that as, do I really want to hire somebody with that on there? A person that might be difficult to work with. A person that might be difficult to manage. I mean, people have to look at that kind of stuff. People also have to think to themselves, is that person going to possibly cause a problem for me and my company? Again, am I going to be accused of being racist when I'm not? If they're not doing their job and I confront them, are they going to tell me I'm racist and charge Sue and this? I mean, what's going to happen? So again, people have to recognize, man, again, you hire somebody because of an asset. You want to bring an asset to your company. You want to find a solution to a problem. And again, you don't want to hire somebody if they're a liability. man. So again, we have to recognize that. And if you walk in the door to an interview with an attitude, chip on your shoulder, entitled attitude, you know, a dashiki and the whole 9 yards, and, you know, the black power stuff and everything else, again, I would think that most people might look at you as, hey, look, that guy probably, or that girl or whatever, man, might not be somebody who's going to work well with other people. We have to recognize that, man. We have to recognize that you might be not getting the job because you're an asshole, because you're an entitled asshole. Not because you're black, but because you're an entitled asshole. You know, again, man, the same type of stuff if you have your pronoun listed on your resume. Again, that to me just says baggage. You know, that to me says, hey, look, I don't want to hire that person because, again, if somebody misgenders them or whatever, man, are they going to try to sue? You know, again, is that going to put myself or my company in jeopardy? Is that going to put my job in jeopardy? Again, you know, you got to think about that kind of stuff because, you know, again, people want to find a solution to a problem. They don't want to add a problem to it. So we truly got to be honest about that stuff. So again, do people call back people that have white sounding names? I truly don't know. I would honestly think to myself, probably not, especially nowadays, man, with the whole affirmative action stuff and everything else. You want to hire more, you know, people of color or whatever, man. Again, we have to recognize, man, a lot of companies, they have basic quotas, man. You know, they have, they want to make their workforce more diverse because of the equity scores or whatever the system is now they have in place, that diversity system. So again, we have to understand, man, the ESG scores. So again, we have to truly understand, man. You know, I don't think that's really a thing. I really truly don't. But again, man, the only way that I would think it possibly is because people don't want to get sued. And possibly you're not getting a job because you're an asshole, not because you're black. But anyways, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
You son of a